Hello, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be reading some thrillers because if there's one thing that I have not been lately, it is scared. And I am looking for a good thrill. I'm looking to be frightened. Sure, I like to be footloose and fancy free and just read romance, but every once in a while I crave something different. A couple of weeks ago, I was craving some science fiction, craving to understand why the girlies like it. Now, I'm not necessarily craving to understand why people enjoy thrillers because I enjoy thrillers. I'm just looking for a switch up. I think we all know what that's like. I'm gonna read some thrillers. I don't know what I'm starting with. I don't know what we're gonna be getting into, but it's gonna be a wild ride, and I hope you are ready for it with me. We're gonna hang out together this weekend. But before I get into it, I have to tell you about the sponsor of today's video, Nurex. Said it once and I'll say it again. I love being on camera every day. It is one of my favorite things. As someone on camera every day, I really value my skin looking its best and being as healthy as possible. And I only want to use things that are tailored to my specific skin, not just generic over-the-counter solutions. Nurex is a digital healthcare platform that offers more than 50 clinically proven treatments for melasma, acne, and anti-aging. This includes powerful skincare ingredients like retinol. Nurex connects you with a licensed medical provider to address your health concerns and receive a personalized treatment plan, which is incredible because then you don't have to wait months to see a provider. You can complete a medical consultation literally anytime that's convenient for you and have 24/7 access to care and support if you ever have any questions. Nurex has your back. Thanks to Nurex for sponsoring this video. Taking control of your health starts here. Go to nurex.com/chandler.ainsley to get started or click the link in the description down below. That's nurx.com/chandler.ainsley. Now let's get into the vlog portion of today's video and get scared. All right, I decided to start out this spooky reading vlog with a Riley Sager book. I'm 50% into Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. What an uninventive and unexciting title. I feel like this book is one that was not on my radar. Granted, I'm like never really that up on what's popular in the thriller genre, but I have seen a lot of people posting about this one on Instagram, so I was like, okay, intriguing. It was also advanced listener copy for Libra FM, which we love, so I snagged a copy. I've been listening, and I would have updated you earlier, and we could have had more time to hang out tonight. However, I don't have much to say about this book, even 50% in. So this book's about our main character, Ethan, and many years ago, 30 years ago, in fact, his best friend and him were having a little bit of a sleepover situation in a tent in Ethan's backyard until Ethan wakes up and realizes his friend is no longer in the tent. And with some further examination, there is a cut in the tent. It seems like someone sliced into the tent, snatched Ethan's friend. We don't know what the fuck happened to this kid. 30 years later, we believe that the body of this child has been found. I wish I could remember his name. Let me see. Billy. We believe Billy's body has been found, but like weird stuff is going on ever since Ethan has come back to his childhood home. His parents have like gone to Florida. They want him to sell his house. They want him to sell the childhood home. They want Ethan to sell the home. And they also are kind of like allowing him to stay there because he's probably getting a divorce from his wife, or maybe he's divorced already. That doesn't really fucking matter. He's in this house and he's realizing like not much has changed since he left home. A lot of people who he grew up by are like still in town. There are a lot of like kids that he used to be friends with who are like living in their parents' houses or are just like in the area. I believe one of the kids he grew up with who was kind of a bully is one of the police that is on the case for Billy's disappearance. Like he's the new guy on the case. I think the other guy retired. Weird things are happening now that Ethan's back home and he's trying to figure out if Billy's haunting him or just like what the fuck's happening. There's a lot of like strange happenings. He thinks it like might be kind of a ghost, like Billy's ghost. It keeps like rolling a baseball into his front yard or backyard, whatever. Interesting. And I hesitate to say interesting because that implies that I have so much to say about it and that this is just like groundbreaking stuff. Here's the deal. Intriguing premise. Loving the premise. Think it's interesting. Execution, not so much. I feel like I've just been listening to not a literary fiction novel, but it's like kind of lacking in the mystery department and also kind of lacking in the thrills department. Like not much has happened that's keeping me on the edge of my seat. And I also kind of don't give a shit what happened to this kid because apparently this kid just disappeared, but like his body showed up and he's been dead this whole time. So it's like, okay, what's the mystery there? I mean, like, yeah, who done it, I guess, but I'm just not like just chomping at the bit to know what happened. So I'm sort of like, the point of it all, you know? I want to be current and I want to be fresh on the thrillers, but I was really looking for the thrills here. I was looking to be scared. I was looking to be terrified and frightened, and I'm none of those things. So that's a touch disappointing. I don't hate it, but I feel like I've just not had much luck with Riley Sager's books in a while. I think the only one I truly enjoyed was Lock Every Door, just because, I don't know, I feel like it had some like fun commentary on wealth and privilege, in addition to being like an interesting book. I feel like everything else is just kind of like fallen flat for me. The like lime green one I liked. Is it Home Before Dark or something like that? That one's okay. Most of them I just like have not been into though. And Pepper feels the same way. Look at him. He's just sort of like, yeah, I'm not into it either, Mom. So, okay. I am gonna go, and I am going to read some more of this tonight, let you know bright and early tomorrow morning as I do my makeup what my final thoughts are, and we can move on to some other thrillers, because Sunday just screams listen to thriller audiobooks and try to find a book that I'm scared of to start my week off right?
Happy sleepy Sunday, friends. I've got all 4 of my beautiful boys behind me, and I'm living the dream, basically. What wasn't a dream? I wish it were a bad dream that I could wake up from. A bad dream that I wouldn't have to have read. The Night by Riley Sager. This was not good. I feel like in the book, the main character talks about how it's not good, like how it's not an interesting story, and I'm like, okay, well then, Mr. Sager, why did this need to be told? You know? Do you ever think of that? Did you ever stop and consider why I needed to read this book? So the thing I think I didn't enjoy about this one is that I couldn't tell as I was reading whether this was going to be like an actually sort of like spooky supernatural sort of thing, or if it was going to end up being just like a really boring explanation for a story. And it did end up being the boring explanation. And I don't feel like that's a spoiler to say. I'm not going to tell you what happened or who did it or whatever, but we do find out who did it. And it's anticlimactic as fuck. I think I struggle so much with thrillers as a genre because I like the idea of being scared. I love the idea of like solving a mystery too. I like the mystery side of thrillers for sure. But I feel like I struggle because I really want there to be interesting explanation for things that is not supernatural. Like 9 times out of 10, that's really what I am going for. I feel like supernatural answers tend to be cop-outs, so it's like, I'm glad that this story didn't do that. It also didn't leave me with like an interesting explanation. And I guess sometimes the most boring, mundane explanations are the most true, but that doesn't make for a story that I necessarily want to commit to listening to for 12 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think that we could have added a little pizzazz, especially since there were so many red herrings that like were going in interesting directions. This story just like didn't execute on interesting. I feel like that's a common problem I have with thrillers. You know, glad it didn't go supernatural. Also disappointed in the boring ass regular everyday explanation that it gave us. So it's like, I don't know what I would rate this one, because it absolutely was not the worst thing I've ever read, but it's definitely not something that I'm like gonna tell anyone to like rush out and read or go pick up. I actually saw someone on Instagram yesterday post like a reel picking up the new Riley Sager with a friend, and then I was like, you know what, thinking to myself, I hope y'all have better luck with this than I had, because I just was so not into it. So I don't know, I think this might be the end of the road for me and Riley Sager. Like, I liked one book many years ago by him, but every book since I've been like just increasingly disappointed with. So I think despite the cool covers and interesting premises, I just need to give up. As like as sad as that sounds, I need to just give up. So the amount of sun protection I have on my skin right now is kind of insane considering I'm not going outside. If you've been curious what I've been applying, I am using the Beauty of Joseon Light On Serum Centella plus Vitamin C. Beauty of Joseon Relief Sun Sunscreen. The Super Good Protectant SPF 50. So I am sun protected to the motherfucking gills. Good for me. You can tell I'm ghostly pale, so I probably need that even if I am staying inside. So anyway, I have since started Falling by TJ Newman. Apparently this is a debut, which is kind of fun. And this is much more thrilling and terrifying because it is about a plane. And planes, I'm sorry, planes are maybe one of the most fucking terrifying things ever. Like one of the most terrifying everyday things that we have to experience. Not that I'm on a flight every day, but you know what I mean? Like every day in the sense that lots of people go on flights every day and mostly bad things don't happen, but like every once in a while, a fucking plane door flies off. Thank you so much, Boeing. This story is about our main character. I want to say his name's like Ben or Bob or something. He is a pilot, a very handsome pilot. He leaves to go to work. He's like on the plane, you know, about to fly out, or maybe he's already like in the air. Who knows? But some stranger calls him and is like, hey, by the way, was like, hey, you know how there was like a repair tech coming to your house today to help out? Yeah, that's me, but I'm not actually a repair tech. I am here to threaten to kill your wife and children if you don't crash the plane that you are currently flying. So, an opening to a book. Already, plane's terrifying. Having hundreds of lives on your hands, pretty fucking scary as well. So I have no idea where this book is going and why someone would want to kill this guy's wife and kids, and why the answer to that would be killing everybody on a flight, but we're gonna find the fuck out. And I'm excited about it. Feels familiar to another story that I've read. There's another airplane book that I read a couple of years ago that was kind of fucking scary because, again, airplanes are scary. The execution of it was not quite that good. So I'm curious to see how this one kind of plays out. I think no matter if this one's like a banger or not. The premise of it is so terrifying that I feel like it might just end up being something I enjoy, or at least am scared by the entire time, which is ultimately what we're looking for in this video. You know what I mean? I want to get through some of the thrillers on my backlist, but I also want to be fucking scared, because what's the point of reading a thriller if you're not at least a little bit scared or anxious, you know? Increase that cortisol response, because, you know, it's not like I don't do that in my everyday life already. I am going to get further into this so that I can actually tell you what I think about it, because so far I don't have really strong feelings, but I already am scared, so I guess like it's a win already for that. So yeah, I will BRB, hopefully looking a little less scary than I do right now.
I feel like I'm realizing how challenging it is to actually do videos talking about thrillers. If this is something that you regularly do on your channel, hats off to you, because I am figuring out that this is hard without spoiling things. And I love spoiling things if it's a romance, because like we all know it's gonna be happily ever after at the end, right? So like to get there, I feel like there's not much to spoil, you know, conflicts happen, people kiss, people have sex. In a thriller, so many different things can happen, outcomes can be so different, so it's like I don't want to spoil what exactly is happening. But plane has been digitally hijacked, you know, by someone who has kidnapped this guy's family, and we're finding out exactly why that is. And we're also getting people on the ground, like a ground crew, coming together to try to stop this from happening. People on board the plane are only somewhat aware at this point of like what's happening, what's going on. They don't know the full story. I don't even know if like the people on the ground really understand the full story, but they are trying to save this guy's family and make sure that this guy can like land safely, which we'll see if that ends up happening or not. I am loving the pace of this story. I think compared to a lot of thrillers, this one is very frenetic. Like I'm not feeling bored, and I say that as if all thrillers are boring. I don't believe they are. I do feel like most of the ones I've picked up over the past couple of years have been exciting premises, but just not really moving at a pace that I feel like is very thrilling. And with a thriller, it's not usually a true mystery. It's folding secrets in a way that's like propulsive and like, you know, carrying the story forward. It's not necessarily like a plotting whodunit situation, but yet a lot of these stories have been feeling like plotting kind of situations. This is not. This is like very fast paced, very wild. I am waiting for the other shoe to drop, kind of. I don't know. So many different things are happening, and I can't even tell you what those things are. I can tell you that I did not blend my bronzer very well today. I'm also going to pick up some new nightstands for my bedroom, which should be exciting, at 7 p.m. So I'm like trying to finish this before I go do that, and then our last book is going to be read late night. Should be exciting. Ew, I feel my hands scab. I am out of practice, I will say, on this channel. All I want to do is be like chatty. That's what I do on my vlog channel. If you didn't know, I have a vlog channel. Like I talk about it a fair amount, but I think some of y'all think that some of the videos that you're watching on my vlog channel are actually on this channel, because I share them as community posts here on the main channel, and you click them and you're like, okay, I'll watch this, not realizing that there's a whole nother channel with like other stuff. I've gotten too used to yapping, but this book is fun, and it's kind of exactly what the doctor ordered on this beautifully sunny Sunday.
Okay, I did finish The Flight last night after I picked up some bedside tables that unfortunately are not gonna work well in my space, so I just wasted 2 hours of my life. Something I'm gonna resell. Let's chat. It wasn't necessarily one that I would recommend. The only thing scary I would say about this book is the handling of terrorism. It's kind of a yikes. It didn't really know how to articulate it, but I noticed that Gabby from Gabby Reads review on Goodreads sort of kind of summarized how I felt, and then I went click on her video where she talks about this book, and I was like, yeah, no, that's totally true. The thing about this book is that there's no mystery involved, right? If the first book had a ton of mystery and no thrills, this one had a ton of thrills and no mystery. Like, I'm sorry, being on a plane that's going down is fucking terrifying. Having your whole family kidnapped, also pretty fucking scary. The way that this book was executed, though, not that scary. And I think the problem was, like, yes, there were a lot of like adventure-y sort of thrills going on the plane, and this kind of like race against the clock with the people on the ground trying to figure things out. But the problem was that there wasn't a lot of mystery involved. Like, the person who kidnaps this guy's family, I think his name's Bill, kidnaps Bill's family, he pretty much immediately tells them why he kidnaps this man's family. Like, he tells both the wife and the husband, like, hey, this is why I'm kidnapping you, this is why I kidnapped your wife, kind of thing. Like, he tells them, he tells us as readers. And it's just not very exciting from there, because it's like, okay, cool, we want to see how you're gonna not die. So I guess that's fun, race against the clock, but like, it would have been much more compelling if like secrets would have been unfolding along the way, that there was like a complex, interesting reason as to why this man's family was being kidnapped. Unfortunately, the reason was just terrorism. It's like what it was. Like, this guy doesn't like how America treats this man's country, I guess. It was just a really odd choice, I think.
on a whole lot of levels to do that. Didn't love that. Personally didn't love that. And I also just think it was boring. Like, that was not the way that they should have gone with this. It was stereotypical, it was boring, played out, meh. Let's do something a little bit more interesting, shall we? I have such mixed feelings about this one because it was like kind of scary, kind of heart-pounding, but it also reminded me of like a couple of other books I've read anyway. When I was reading this, I was like, shit, have I read this before? It kind of reminded me of Hostage by Claire McIntosh. One I rated lowly, but I actually think it was more interesting than this one. So I think I'll give this one 2 stars. I don't know. What I do know though is that I decided that I would take advice from my little sister because clearly I can't pick good books for myself. And instead, I need to rely on a youngin to give me good thriller recommendations. To be fair, she does like to read thrillers. That's like one of her favorite genres. So I decided to pick up The Teacher by Frida McFadden. Now, listen here. I know that Frida McFadden is not the best. Like, her books are kind of basic and a little over the top, but sometimes you just want a page turner, and I think Frida pretty much always delivers. So, The Teacher is about this woman and her husband. They're both teachers at the same high school. Both get this one student in their class who, we don't know exactly what happened to her, but she is like basically said to have slept with like an old guy teacher, like a much older teacher, ends up getting fired from his position. Her name is Addie, the girl, I should say. And Addie gets put in both of these teachers' classes. They're separate classes. She teaches math, he teaches English. I love the role reversal. And we're wondering what's going to happen because Addie has a bad reputation, and the teacher that got fired is like a really kind guy. He's saying that Addie is basically the devil. So is she actually the devil? Like, what's going on? I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. What I do know, though, is that Addie's an interesting character that I want to learn more about. And then the wife, I really want to learn more about because she is kind of a bitch and she definitely has like some issues going on in her marriage. He is not that interested in sleeping with her as often as she'd like. She has like a spending problem. It's all very like juicy, sort of like domestic white people drama that sometimes can be really boring and sometimes can be quite fun. And frankly, I'm having a good time with it. Like, I feel like this is kind of what I was looking for this whole time. Something totally ridiculous. And maybe I just need to rely on Frida McFadden in the future. I really wish I could find more just like fucking stupid thrillers like this. Though I am curious to see about this one in specific because almost all of the Goodreads reviews I've read for it have been bad. Like, all of my friends are like, this is fucking terrible. When is it gonna get terrible? Maybe I have terrible taste. Maybe that's what we're finding out in this here video, but I'm prepared to be scared. Hopefully this is scary. Scarier than the last one. I feel like it's just a part of the laws of filming that whenever you want to sit down to film, there will be a lawnmower going off or there will be a washing machine in the background. Today it is, in fact, a lawnmower. It's not even very close to me, and yet I can hear it loudly. I don't know if y'all can hear it. Sorry if you can. 50% into The Teacher, and scary. It's scary because it's gross. This book is a touch problematic, shall we say. The scary part of this book is not that it is a thriller, because I'm sorry, like there's not that much that's thrilling in this book, but the way that Addie is treated and the way that student-teacher relationships are treated in this book is scary. Like, the way that Addie is bullied by her peers and is bullied by Mrs. Bennett, that's her last name by the way, is kind of crazy. Like, no one seems to really understand her except for, yeah, you guessed it, Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett has taken an interest in Addie's poetry and thinks she's really talented and shares so much emotion, and I'm sure we can all guess where it's going, but I'm waiting for things to get like thrilling and like creepy because we're not quite there yet. Even at this 50% mark, it kind of just feels like a cautionary tale rather than like a true thriller, but I like all the twistiness. Mrs. Bennett, by the way, is like not without fault either. She's like doing some shady shit besides just treating Addie poorly. I'll let you know, I am intrigued. And I'm a little scared of what's gonna happen next. I really feel bad for Addie, I will say. Maybe I shouldn't feel bad for Addie because she's also done some stuff not related to school, not related to student-teacher relationships. It's questionable. Not that it would ever be her fault for that happening to her, right? But she's done some shit too, like some non-related things. I hope she like doesn't like murder her bullies though, because I think that would be like actually not great, you know? Like, you can't really come back from that. This is definitely like what I needed to like end off this vlog. It's a fun one. Maybe not the best written, but fun. I'm gonna finish it. All right, friends. So I finished it. It was scary. I think that we have finally found a winner. And scary as in scarily written, characters making frightening decisions. I think if I were to compare this book to anything, it would be like if Ezra and what's her name? Arya? The Pretty Little Liar people. It's like if they got married into the future and then were teachers. this is what their life would be like, you know? Yikes. Genuinely yikes. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I love the comeuppance of it all. I like that none of the characters were truly like good or bad guys. Addie had some issues, Mrs. Bennet and Mr. Bennet had issues, and like the true, in my opinion, like ne'er-do-well of the situation definitely got what was coming to them, which I personally really enjoy anytime I'm reading a thriller. There were a lot of twists and turns, things that I wasn't really seeing coming. It wasn't like the most inventive thing ever. It wasn't like this is a truly unique storyline, but I think if you're sitting on the beach somewhere and you just want something like casual and easy to read, I think this is kind of a good time, and that's how I feel about pretty much all the Freida McFadden shit that I've read, which I don't know what that says about me and the kind of girl that I am with my reading. I mean, I've never been like classiest reader. I like stuff that's just gonna be like fun, but I guess none have been less classy than this book compared to like some of the others that I've enjoyed in the past. But yeah, this was like genuinely kind of a fun time, and I think a fair amount of you would like it. Y'all are probably gonna judge me so hard. Like, I just think this is like kind of crap compared to a lot of the stuff I like, but it's fine. It doesn't need to be realistic at all. It was a fun one. It was a fun one. We've had such a journey, I would say, with the books that we've read. I feel like they've gotten like increasingly stupid as the video has gone on, but that's okay. Like, things don't have to be serious all the time, and I'm glad I got to read these thrillers with all of you. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these. Also, let me know if you have any recommendations for stuff that's like not necessarily great, maybe a page turner, because I don't have any beach vacations coming up, but I would love to sit on my back porch in the morning and read something truly stupid one of these days, you know? Thanks so much for watching this video, y'all. I love y'all so much, and I'll see you in the next one.